Hey, there
Good
she is.
morning.
Uh, are
Yellow.
you at the not your home?
No, in fact, other way around.
You are at your home. Wait, what does that mean?
I'm more in my home than we've ever been,
Oh, this is like your backboard of your bed or something.
or something. Yeah, I'm at an extremely well chosen angle.
You
um,
sleep like a vampire. Your bed is suspended on the wall. I see. Makes sense.
I just watched Lost, or almost all of Lost Boys, which is this like unbelievable mashup of 80s teen movie and 80s horror movie, where it's vampires on the Santa Cruz boardwalk, and it's really a fever dream. But everything I think is weird, my partner who's a little older than me is like, that's just 80s. The 80s were either like this or 80s movies are like this, but I consider it an insane film. Um, yes, I have a family member sleeping on my couch, which
Uh,
I'm like inordinately proud of or something. It feels very like grown up and wholesome and family and good. Um,
yeah, you're
so
hosting.
I'm hosting. It's so good. I
Amazing.
have I have extra keys made. I just bought a whole set of like little clip-on keychains because I realized that when I give people a spare key to my place, like I just give them a blank key and like that's easy to lose or whatever. So now I have a whole. It's fun. Well, I really am reinventing the idea of keeping a home from first principles. I also really
You
like project management. Groceries. No, I said I also like project managing the groceries and like making sure we always have the things we need.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Girl bossing my
Oh
way all the
indeed.
way to traffic,
Um
baby.
um Well, good morning, Hannah. Amazing getting up so early. And good morning, or whatever time it is for you listeners. Welcome to Expected Volume, where you're going to be treated to another installment, a second installment of one of our favorite series on the show, AI in Context Director's Commentary, Episode 2, where we leverage one of our co-hosts' 250,000 subscribers in hopes that we'll get us up to 250,000 anytime now. Let's see how this episode goes, where I, the other co-host, will be much less critical because, Hannah, I thought episode 2, MechaHitler, was good. It was an improvement,
Whoa!
qualitatively better. I'm like
Whoa!
kind of okay with it. This is like, yeah.
Whoa! I was so worried when you told me ahead of time that you were going to be nicer. I'm like, don't be nicer just for the sake of being nicer. Like, that's who wants that? You're nicer because you like it better. Whoa. We have flipped.
Yeah. I
We
was
have flipped
tempted.
our
I was
most
tempted to be nice for the sake of being nice.
strident. Yeah. No, aren't we all? We have, you know, the good soul in us. Flipped our most strident critic. This is very exciting. Oh, this is a
Oh,
totally
genre.
separate point. But I only realized recently that there's a whole genre of like um, YouTubers on podcast talking about their workflow. Um, so we are joining the hallowed grounds
Yeah.
of a pre-established structure. Anyway, I can probably guess why you liked it better. Well, why don't you tell the viewers why you liked it better?
Yeah, sure. I like that we're very much reinventing uh, the director's commentary portion of DVDs used to buy in the early 2000s, whatever.
Yeah,
It's like
they were
everyone's
so
everyone's
good.
into it.
Should we release? Wait, stop, Matt. We should release director's cuts of the AI in context videos. This is so obvious in retrospect. What am I doing? I have so much to say about every scene and every joke that we like have multiple takes of. Oh my god, this is so smart. This is obvious. Oh, this is great. This is great. Second channel, baby. Here we come.
Siphoning off my precious few listeners to this show, but fair enough. Whatever, you do you. Well, look, to answer your question, this video, I think,
You thought the maybe I should guess actually. Let me do a quick
sure.
guess. You thought there was something like really importantly like solemn and non-nihilistic and just like deeply kind of like engaging with the important issues of our choice to release a video called "The Day Elon's AI Went Neo-Nazi," and including the phrase "woke libtard cuck." Is that right?
You nailed it. God, how
Great.
are you so good? Hannah, you made an argument.
Yeah, we
You,
did.
you presented lots of evidence, and you said, like, look, there was this instance. This instance is well documented. Here's all the irresponsible things that the actors in charge did, step by step by step, right? Here are the challenges that they face ahead. We think if they behave anything remotely similarly to the way they behaved in the past, like they are not going to meet these much more important challenges in the future. It's like, wow, crisp, beautiful.
Yeah. Amazing. And
So anyway,
I think, well, anyway, I think one can turn up that dial even more. And I don't know if we should or will, but certainly it's not like we maximized on argument making relative to other features of the video. But I'm so glad you felt that there was an argument. It was in fact part of the stated goal. I even confess that the phrase like Matt's post or Matt's argument appears in our notes at least once.
Let's go. Influence, posting to YouTube channel content policy pipeline. That's what I call it.
Yeah, it is really interesting. This is really sort of a side point, but I totally understand the feelings of many people in the kind of the EA forum or like the broader parts of the EA ecosystem who don't feel listened to by leadership or like feel like their positions aren't being heard. But it's really interesting when, you know, and they might have no way of knowing this, but like when people say it, where I have personally been in the Slacks where their post is circulated like endlessly and like people obsess endlessly about whether the critique is correct. And I'm like, you are having an effect. I don't know, you know, if it's good or bad or like it's the effect you wanted, but like I promise that plenty of my personal time has been spent on your post, if that makes you feel better.
I mean, you were part of a team whose remit could be described as schwitz about the criticism. And Hannah is nodding for the record.
Well, nice.
I know you guys don't like records either, but you know, we can cut this, right? We can run it by Julia too.
I was not the least schwitzy among them. You gotta have a cool head for that kind of thing. Anyway. So
yeah, let's dive in a little deeper. And so anyway, video's good. It made an argument. It presented evidence. It was rather clean and crisp. And I kind of liked it, but disagreements are interesting. So let's explore a little bit more of the model of which I'm warming to, but not totally sold on. I think you'll agree.
Can we start with? Do you subscribe to the channel?
Hannah, you have 250,000 subscribers. And yet,
I want you.
And yet you entertain the question of whether I am so petty as to deny you 250,000 of your subscriber count just in order to register the weakest protest you can imagine against a slight disagreement I have with your theory of change. You know, I take it as a compliment.
I'm not sure you originally did have a slight disagreement with our theory of change. The disagreement has gotten slighter as the subscriber count has gone up.
Yes. Well, I mean, you are succeeding on someone's terms, your own terms, and to that, you know, one's cap must be tipped. I
just want.
I think
I'm not
to be honest,
though, I just have a simple question to which you did not answer.
Wow, you were really locked in. So here, I'll confess that after the first video, it was probably like a week and a half or two after I watched it that I realized, oh, I didn't subscribe because I was kind of miffed. After which point I did subscribe.
Amazing. Appreciate that.
And now I'm a somewhat relatively proud subscriber. It's cool. You guys are doing a good job. You're good at your craft. At the very, very least. Respect.
Thanks. That actually means a lot.
Hannah, you're capable of being emotional at 7:45 in the morning, impressive.
Heart and soul goes into these videos, baby.
You need to believe in the market more. The people have spoken. The consumers are telling you you're good at your craft. What the fuck? What does my opinion
A
matter?
weird market.
Um,
We think the attention economy obeys the efficient market hypothesis. We don't even think the real market obeys the efficient market hypothesis.
okay, that's a very very fair comment. Yeah. All right. So at least someone hypothetically in the target of the target audience is loving it. Not loving it, but respecting the craft, acknowledging the craft, seeing real skill at
You
play.
actually sort of explicitly aren't the target audience for what it's worth. There was like a different version of this whole project that was like a lot more targeted at people who already bought like a lot of the central arguments and was like, now is the time to act. Like you should really, really like you vaguely think this AI thing is
Mm.
important. You sort of already buy these arguments, but like maybe we should like crispen your view of this and like sort of amp up the sense of like urgency and intensity or support of like, hey, like I know it's hard to make decisions with this like complicated epistemic ecosystem and like all the emotions and logistics and life stuff that comes along with it. But like I really want to like make the ask now. We want to like you've been waiting for the call. This is it. That is like not currently the program we're running.
Yeah, and I was like referring to a more essentialist version of Matt that like didn't have all the history and context of my like
Hmm.
jobs and community that I've had. Like 2015 Matt, I think is feeling like certainly recognizes the craft here and at least in the second video, I think finds some resonance, like good investigative kind of journalism, taking me through step by step, something which I imagine certainly would have caught my attention even if I wasn't invested in AI. Yeah, and yeah, I guess just like pivoting to the substantive point here is like the craft is good YouTube videos. There are other people who do informational content on YouTube, and I think it, they hum a lot of the same bars. They conduct this in a similar way. You have a charismatic person, dramatic pauses, step by step, evidence, screenshots, all this kind of stuff, kind of nicely looped in. I also like the change of tone is very cool. Like when you step back to like the room where he's explaining system prompts and stuff like that is like very neat and just and really to my point, a good way to be engaging, right? Is like every, I don't know, 5.5 minutes or something. You want just like a little tone shift, a little something, a little next chapter here, next chapter there, so people are checking in and remembering that they're engaged and all that. And it's a model. It's a model that's like proven to work, at least in the sense of like casting a very wide net, reaching a very wide audience. Um, yeah, and so it just kind of goes back to like the wide net strategy and whether we like buy that or not. The fact that I'm warming to it seems good. I don't imagine you have much insight as to like who your audience is composed of and how much of that composition are people who are going to develop like deep models. I think they need to do good work here. But yeah, I imagine you're still feeling good enough in expectation about the wide net strategy, and I just agree that yeah, that's like you have reason to feel good.
Okay, what I got was yeah. You described the model and then you asked about my target audience. Is that right? Yeah, great. Or sorry, not the target audience, the current audience, right? Like what's happening.
Yes.
And that I think is an
Yes.
important question because it's precisely how we're doing it, right? Because we have this whole thing of like, first we were just like, can we make a video at all? And then the second question was for the next quarter was like, can we make a video that gets a bunch of views again and that we like think is good, that we like is up to our sort of aesthetic and epistemic standards. And only from then is the plan, either this quarter or next, to like be like, who is watching these videos and who do we want to be watching these videos and like what's the delta? Okay. Yeah, I guess after this, I'm just like very happy to kind of send you a bunch of screenshots of metrics and you can throw them on screen. I know that might like really push your editing abilities, but I believe in you. Maybe one day you can be an editor for AI in context. Oh, now I'm alone. This has happened before, right? Where I just got total command of this channel. What do you guys think? Is this good that Matt just holds me to task for every one of my professional outputs? I think it's good. I think it's a good time. I guess it'd be kind of weird if we didn't discuss the YouTube videos. But what happens when there's a lot of them? Then this whole channel just becomes like an AI in context second channel. I don't know if that's what the people want. I am really relieved that it's him. It's weird how much it feels like a moral failing to be the one with bad Wi-Fi.
All right, I'm back for the moment. Yeah, sorry about that. You did a good summary.
There's this thing on the app we use called Riverside where on the top left it tells you actual recording is higher quality, which I find to be an extremely funny reminder. Hello, the listeners and I were having a little chat.
Good. Love to hear it. That's what we're here for. I'm only here as a foil for you. I think you understood my point from earlier, and you were going on about the channel model. If you've done that, I can make another point, and we can just kind of do this almost asynchronously.
That's so funny. Wait, I didn't answer any of the questions. I acknowledged the question. Okay, who's watching our videos? Our biggest age group is 24 to 35 with a kind of bell curve around. So kind of maybe exactly what you'd expect, elder, like millennials and elder millennials, basically people exactly my and Eric's age watch the channel. Is the biggest, but then plenty in the age groups to either side. Do you want to guess on our channel gender split? Obviously, recorded gender split, a la YouTube's stats, blah blah blah. But yeah, any guesses?
Yeah. So first of all, I'm pretty sure Eric is Gen Z, and you are a very young millennial. I am a mid millennial. There be creatures out there in their early 40s who are elder millennials. Just for clarity. Yeah, the generations. Come on, don't give me that face. 85 to 85 to 97, or that's too short. It's 80 to 97 is millennial.
You're right.
And then yeah. Anyway, putting that aside, yeah, obviously it's a sausage fest.
Did you say 80 to 90%?
Yeah. Or no, 80 to 20. 80-20. So I'm holding on 80
that's
for
basically
male.
That's basically exactly right. Yeah, I think it's overall views are 85% male right now. Although I'd have to check. Here's what's interesting. Do you want to guess which of the two videos has more female watchers?
Oh, I mean, I would guess MechaHitler, but because you asked, it's going to be the AI 2027 one.
But why? It's actually so much more. I think it was 92.8 for super intelligence and 81.19 or something for MechaHitler. I haven't checked the stats super recently, but why?
Oh. Yeah, because women are more grounded in the real world and things that are actually happening. Hannah, I'm not afraid of being unwoke. Yeah.
It's just I didn't realize how much of a trap. God. The sentence, it's so good that I'm a woman, just occurred to me. Which is
I mean, flesh it out a little bit. You're helping with the demos? Is that the suggestion?
No. What is the suggestion? I imagine that the whole sausage, everything we're doing would have a certain air and vibe. If actually both Eric and I were more standard tech bro vibed, both in demographic, but also in vibe. And I actually genuinely feel both just if you just look at our demographics, you're okay, they are not just standard tech bros probably. But I also think our vibe is hopefully comes off therefore as significantly more earnest and non-hypey and things like that. But it does mean that I don't know, not just boys like sci-fi scenarios. That's my hot feminist take for the day. I love a sci-fi scenario. Hashtag girls in STEM. I am kind of a tech bro though, vibe-wise. Much more than Eric. It's good that he's the face of the channel.
Yeah.
Not just the face. Host, writer, etc.
Oh,
anyway.
Interesting. I should get to know Eric more. Okay, so this segues nicely to another point that I wanted to make.
Yeah, did I want to say anything else about metrics? I guess we know gender and age. We sort of know a little bit about the other channels they watch, but it's pretty unsurprising. It's some other AI stuff, other video essays. Nothing super mind-blowing that I've checked out yet.
I mean, fair enough. I think that's what you're going for. It's a big market. Go get it. So segueing nicely to the other point that I wanted to make about, I guess groundedness viewpoint slash perspective diversity and things like this. So the MechaHitler video, I think, was also more appealing to a people with a wider range of concerns. And I wonder how much you feel or worry that you are like leaning into the like AI omnicause, because there's a little bit of an AI omnicause starting to build. Like we care about discrimination, we care about the environment, we care about this, we care about like the market bubble. We also, I guess we can throw extinction in there if we're trying to make a long list about how mad we are about AI. Yeah. And this, I mean, I'll put it in a little more context. Hank Green saw your video and reposted it on YouTube's like, neglected social media algorithm, but he's got enough people that follow him on there, and seems like pretty AI omnicause, and I guess we're happy that he throws extinction in there or whatever once in a while, somewhat speculatively from his end. But yeah, how do you feel about your relationship to kind of grabbing the attention of people who might be into AI omnicause stuff?
Hey, omnicause is a good phrase. You're gonna put that one into the meme space. Yeah, it was obviously extremely cool that Hank watched and liked the video. I actually felt, I'd be curious what Hank thinks, obviously, but I sort of felt like, having watched Hank's videos on AI for a while, like I think he has a bunch of concerns about tech billionaire power, overhype, AI artists, a bunch of that stuff. And I had been like, worried that like he wasn't finding, either hadn't been like, we had like not done a good job of anyone around him like making the case for these like more existential or catastrophic risks, or that he wasn't buying them. And I was like, that's sad to me, because like I think this is an unbelievably important part of the risk portfolio, and I think the arguments are compelling and also like deeply humanist. Like both of the Green brothers, who I've been like fans of for many years, are like deeply humanist in a very particular way, and I think they understandably, in some ways, and I disagree in other ways, like find kind of like the tech bro world, especially like Elon in particular, like just like deeply anathema to a lot of like human values. And I think, well, also, especially from Hank's perspective, I think like used to be much more of a fanboy, as was I, right? Like SpaceX is awesome, and like it's just like cool to build shit. And one question I've had on my mind more generally is like how many base points do I owe the like Elon haters that were like Elon haters before I was like really upset with him? He just like really has like done a terrible job of being a person over the last several years, and wielded his power really inappropriately and horrifically, and just like kind of been a dickhead, among other things. So possibly they just like are owed a lot of base points from me, including the Green brothers. Which is to say that I like felt really good about him liking the video, precisely because I was like, I have been wanting to make this argument that both like I think stands on its own ground argumentatively, but also I think is deeply humanist. It is deeply about humans and sentient life and flourishing and all of these things. Like the skin wrapper of like tech bro-ness is like part of it, and deeply important to the history, but it's not like the only lens and the only vibe one can have about this stuff. So I feel like, why am I saying this? I think like it's interesting that you point to an AI omnicause. I want to talk about that, but I feel like I also want to talk about like an AI omni vibe or something, or like a sort of to rip from Toby Ord's much better put, like many different vibes can hold hands to care about AI. There are just like so many, precisely because I believe it is so potentially civilizationally important. It will affect so many areas of civilization, and therefore like anyone with a perspective on civilization like can like think hard about how this will affect their lives. Sorry, you didn't ask me to go on a YouTube monologue, but those are the things I genuinely believe. How do I feel about the omnicause? So one thing is that I think I am actually just more sympathetic to like these causes being pretty interlinked than I used to be. I used to think that was like kind of a politically advantageous thing to think, but like not a thing people like should actually think. Like the like bias and stuff like doesn't come totally separately from the reasons of catastrophic risk, like the black box element, the fact that we like they're grown not built, like they're definitely like related, but my best guess is that the interventions were different enough that I was like, I think the people fighting for these like might like be able to like agree deeply on like some things, but it's just not similar enough to be the same cause. And the people who say it is are like trying to build alliances, and it's like good to build alliances, but like I worried they were like overstating the case. But more and more, I'm at least open, and this is like super relevant to my job, as you point out, which is like, I'm like, should we make a video about AI psychosis, or is that just like totally just being like that'll get clicks, but that's like not about X risk. And then we'll just have to like shoehorn X risk in there or not shoehorn X risk in there and hope they watch the other videos. But I do think more and more, at least on the margin relative to where I was before, I'm like, here's a few things. One is a bunch of this stuff does happen for the same reasons, both technical reasons in terms of not understanding them and economic personal reasons, which is like, what are these tech CEOs fucking doing? What are their motivations? Are they being sensible? Are they being careful with their power? And I think that stuff actually just like does matter. Two, I think that consumer products and the effects on the world matter a lot, because the more people are attached to these consumer products, the less able we will be to restrict them in ways that have any kind of popular support. Like to take an ad absurdum, if everyone has an AI girlfriend that is like paid for by OpenAI, then they will like not be very excited about restrictions on OpenAI. OpenAI just like gets a ton of leverage that way. So I think consumer products like matter here. And also how they like make the case to their investors for the trillions and trillions of input dollars. So that's point two. Point three, this is like hazier and fuzzier. I'd be interested in you pushing back on me, but I do have some like vague worry of some like incoming wave of like epistemic horror where we like, in fact, I mean, I know people have been worried about deepfakes for a long time and that like hasn't panned out so far, but I do put some probability on like, wow, you're just gonna like not know whether anything is real very soon. And that will make it harder to make all kinds of decisions, including the most consequential ones about the regulation and construction of superhuman artificial intelligences. And then fourth, no, I guess this is just a sub point of the point about like the CEOs, but it's just like, yeah, a friend of mine, we'll see if he wants to be named, but Jeffrey Laddish of Palisade made what I thought was a great point, which is like, when you think about like the sycophancy stuff of 4.0, like how big of a deal is that? I don't know, but it's interesting that like they pushed to prod for like, oh God, I wish I had the stat on hand, but something like 2% of the world population. Like that's just like a lot of people to push to prod on something that like you were like, who knows? Like that just like says something about like the internal process, which is sort of the point of MechaHitler, right? Which is like this is telling us a lot about the like internal workings and decision making at frontier AI companies, and like that matters to the rest of the world. So I am just like more omnicause sympathetic than I used to be. Is part one. I just think these things are actually more connected, and that's part of why like the MechaHitler video exists. Is like because I thought like it actually really does help us make the argument that I think like it is part of the argument.
You may find me to be surprisingly sympathetic to this take. Here's like a contrast, right? So before AI was a consumer product, before it was a big part of the economy, before lots of people were using these things, our concerns about AI, namely agenticness, loss of control, takeover type things, were pretty abstract and pretty grounded in philosophy. And it was just unclear how this was going to manifest in the world. However, you could say, as we're getting close, if at least you were not a super fast takeoff person, that like, wow, there are going to be very prominent and noticeable companies with leaders who make decisions that are going to matter. And who those people are and how responsibly they behave is going to be a stakesy thing. But before you could have maybe predicted that, but like before that was the case, it was just unclear what you would do to like work on the character of the people in charge when you don't even know who's going to be in charge. And so instead you do this much more, isolated technical kind of like work trying to scope the field and make taxonomies of what to be worried about and how to think about it. And at some point this started to manifest. These companies were bigger and clearer. And I do think that like, but yeah, we are in this world where we can reasonably say that like these could very plausibly be the people who matter, and kind of thinking about their judgment and incentives is just very important, and taking whatever evidence we can is kind of useful there.
And as a fifth point, precisely to your point of like what the arguments we used to make, there were constant arguments about the abstraction of like, will we let AI out of the box? Will we hook it up to the internet? Will we give it agency? And the answer to all of those things now is yes, because it's lucrative. We're gonna do it on purpose. And that's really important. Like we made this TikTok early when we were making TikToks that like is only funny to like 300 people. But to those people, according to me, it's extremely funny where it takes the like, the song that goes like, we don't even have to try. It's always a good time. Anyway, so like we display the video, the like arguments of like 2015. Like, why would you ever think like you can't just get an AI out of the box? You'll just like keep it detached from the internet, and like you would never just like let it loose with your credit card, and then like how would it even do that? And then 2025 AIs are like, we don't even have to try. Anyway, it was very funny to me.
So this
But,
this is related. Man, I'm just like sharing so much love today. When the AI 2027 guys, Scott and Daniel, went on Darkesh's podcast, I think one of the most compelling parts of that episode was Scott did a really nice articulation somewhere in the middle that was like, look, basically every time we made this case years ago or whatever, people would say like, well, obviously, if we're in that future time where the danger is real, we're going to behave super responsibly. We won't do this X, Y, and Z. And then just like, well, X happened, and you reinterpreted events to say like, well, we couldn't be in the dangerous times now. So like, of course, this X is fine, and we have some explanation for it. And he gave a bunch of examples, including the ones you just listed. Like, will we release it on the internet? Will we, will it like try to like lie about its alignment or whatever? And it's like, well, no. In the context, this doesn't really matter. It doesn't make sense. Even though you said before, obviously, if it ever does that, then we can worry. And like nobody's worrying, or very few people are worrying, despite the things they said would naturally cause worry, transpiring in some form at least. And that's just like meaningful evidence. I think, not to dabble in something that conspiracy theorists kind of love, but there is just a lot of normalcy bias where people just want to insist that everything that is happening is normal and fine, regardless of the context or what they might have predicted before.
Yeah, Scott actually wrote a post recently that I think is going to like enter the canon, or at least like enter my canon, where he's like, I think it was his review of If Anyone Builds It, Everyone Dies. And he goes like, why don't people pay attention to this stuff? I kind of think, uncharitably, it's because if they took it seriously, they would have to like change all their behavior, and it would just like take a lot of work to figure out if it was true, and it would be like exhausting. And then he goes, and to be like, that's like an uncharitable read, but my evidence for this is I do this with all kinds of things. And then he lists like 10 things where, because we're in the information ecosystem, I was like, oh, fuck. I'm also vaguely worried about like sperm count decline across the world. But like, if I really took it serious, it's like big if true. And if I really took it seriously, like I would have to like have a whole set of feelings about it. God, I forgot the other ones, but it was just a really good list, which like each one I was like, oh yeah. If somebody wrote a book and was like, Hannah, don't you think there's like an X% chance of this? Doesn't that mean you should take it seriously? All the same things I tell AI skeptics, I would like often not have a good response. So that's really going to enter my mental canon.
Yeah, no, pretty good. We'll hopefully I'll remember to link to that and the Rakesh clip as well in the show notes. So anyway, I was going to try to tie this to omnicause, and one branch part aspect of the omnicause that I feel is unduly neglected, at least by us, not neglected by Hank, crucially, or like a lot of the rest of the world, but maybe like we could help boost, since it does seem like kind of robustly good to boost it, though maybe, yeah, I mean, you can tell me how consistent with our theory of the world it is. The financials of AI companies today, from a conventional point of view, make no sense whatsoever. They're just like hemorrhaging money. And there's just like no sensible, plausible world in the next 2 years they could ever make it back, short of like transformative AI and AGI like kind of taking off. Like I think I saw some figure that like in 2025, AI companies invested $1,800 for every man, woman, and child in the United States. And is that going to be the average of what people are paying for these products at any point in the next 2 years? Apply some discount rate to it, whatever. Like certainly not. There's going to be a lot of like failure and loss here. And OpenAI is going to lose 10 billion plus this year. They lost 5 billion last year. Like you really need big things to happen, and it just seems plausible that investors get cold feet and we have an AI winter. And I think a reasonable person should put like double-digit percentages on this happening in the next couple years, including everyone in our sphere. Maybe you disagree, but it seems like memeing this into the water and getting investors to be scared is just like robustly useful. Or is it? Because it's also going to slow down the hype train.
Sort of
yeah, but I'll say this for like the reason. Like, I mean, there's two reasons I think we don't talk about this very much. One is that it does. There's a little bit of inconsistency. It kind of undermines our view that this technology is super potent and going to take off, and we want to be consistent and be right about that. And so we don't want to distract by like hedging across the many realistic possibilities there are. And the other one, more speculatively, but maybe more related to what you do, is have we as people trying to get asses in AI safety seats and get people excited benefited from like the hype and growth of AI? Do we want this to continue just for our narrow, instrumentally useful jobs of getting people excited and getting people engaged? Because you know your work will slow down and quiet down a lot if there's an AI winter, right?
Yeah, and I'll look. I guess like very plausibly will look silly. Um,
Well, that was point one.
yeah. Why are we talking about financials? Um, I don't. I don't know if I have a great theory. I guess like you could say something like we tend to talk just like much more about like technical and philosophical things, and maybe just like talk about financial stuff less, or just like are less interested in the financials. But like I don't know if that answers the question exactly. I know that when you started talking about finances, I was like, wow, I sure don't pay attention to this stuff as closely as I do to all the technical stuff. I don't know. Haven't thought about it that hard. Could I make a video about this? God, I don't even know where to start. So I know I had that reaction. Maybe other people have that reaction too. I wonder, speaking totally out of my lane, if just like, sorry, maybe you're gonna have to mansplain this to me with consent. We have all of these like VC funded tech startups, like famously Uber, who like hemorrhaged money for a long time and like are still around. And I like don't know if they're now net positive, but like this whole like you can't stay solvent like longer than like the VCs are interested in you. It's just like seems like not true. Like you guys can lose money for a long time and keep investing if you have something exciting. And AI just does seem like the most exciting thing you could possibly have, especially if you can make an argument that you are either achieving the sort of like soft power investment of extremely powerful world leaders, check, and two, like investing a ton of the resources into your own R&D such that your like future products will be way better and they just haven't been distributed across the economy or turned into consumer products, which seems like a totally reasonable argument. Double check. And three are just like an obviously like good and savvy negotiator for some of the CEOs. Triple check.
Yeah, I very much appreciate the invitation to mansplain. I'm sorry to bring you down, but I am just not in a position to adequately mansplain. A few things that I'll just
one time we need them.
Terrible. Well, here's what I'll say. The difference with AI is scale. The scale of the investments and the scale of the losses. So you think about Uber, right? I think that yes, they were losing money for like almost a decade.
Of the potential benefits, like everything just scales together.
Unclear. It depends on your assumptions.
That was extremely glib, and utility functions don't quite work that way, but
yeah, it totally depends on your assumptions about where the technology can go. And I think with Uber, for example, like you had this app that was in everyone's pockets and everyone knew about and everyone was using, literally everyone in the target markets that you could care about. And they were losing like a couple $100 million every year. All right, like you can sustain that for a long time.
Truly, the question is what percent. Oh, I see. You're saying it's not just relative to how much like money they got invested. You're saying like there is enough money in the world to sustain Uber. And there's kind of like, we're literally having to like invent new money almost. Like when we're talking about trillions of investments, like world GDP is only 14 trillion. Like we just like, there is only so much money. So we start running into like absolute arguments instead of like relative CapEx arguments or whatever. Yeah.
The problem with AI hyperscaling is eventually you run out of all the money in the world.
That's actually so funny.
Yeah, so there's that element to it. And the other interesting thing is I think people could somewhat rationally look at Uber and say like, all right, you're getting more market saturation, eventually you can raise prices. And I think they have raised prices and they have also shorted drivers. And recently, I don't know if they've become profitable or something, but they've made a turn in this direction. And it's like, I don't know, going some kind of way.
Sorry, don't we obviously have like a consumer financial overhang for AI? Like it is just obvious that it is not integrated into the economy the way that it eventually could be. Like there's obviously so much alpha on the table here, right?
I mean, it just totally depends on your assumptions about technology. And this is the next thing I was going to say.
That like diffusion has been slower than maybe some people expected. And like maybe that's a reason for investors to be like less excited. But it also just means that like, unless you think that that's a lot of evidence that it won't diffuse ever, I just feel like you're just betting on something that seems like pretty inevitable to me.
But like you got to apply a discount rate to like what could you earn in other industries or other areas of the economy?
With your $1 trillion in the meantime.
It's like everything in on this thing that's losing lots of money. Well, I could be
Yeah,
making like 6% in other industries.
yeah.
You got to take that into account. And like I think you need some serious returns within the next couple of years for this not to look kind of dumb, unless you're really, really TAI pilled. Which I think
I was
importantly,
gonna say, like,
you
what does Rich
talked,
Dad Poor Dad have to say about like the like return on investment from building God, right? Like, but that's only if you believe
yeah,
something that
and
transformative, for
and
sure.
and if you talk to the VCs or even Zuckerberg, for God's sake, like it seems like they don't really believe this or
Super
think clearly
intelligence
about
is
it all.
better reels. And actually,
and
that means
and
we have. Wait, has anyone asked Zuckerberg that we have them? We have a Sora only TikTok platform. We have made better reels. We've achieved super intelligence, guys. It happened. No one asked Zuckerberg.
Some of them are really good, to be fair.
Have you been watching the slop trough? What the fuck?
I have seen the parts of slop that make it to Twitter, which I assume are hand selected to be the very best ones. Uh, what is it? The one where like cats are airplanes and everything is a cat.
Oh,
Um,
the cats are airplanes
that's
one
really
I do
good.
like.
Yeah,
And there's
I'm game
obviously
for
with
that.
anything like this, there's like two types of best, right? There's like, oh, it's weirdly good on the metrics and like the qualities that we cared about beforehand. And then there's like good in this new, like Italian brain rot is like not good on any qualities we used to care about, but it's like good in its own insane schizophrenic way.
Right. Yeah. And
I don't
I
know
guess
which one
like
the cats are actually. Oh, the cats on airplanes is very cute.
um yeah, and I don't know, I'll just repeat my like assumption about what's going on here. That it's just hard to integrate with the claims to worry. You want to kind of have a consistent message. It's hard to have a big platform and say both worry and don't worry. Or like really what you're doing is of course saying is like some probability mass on worrying, some probability mass on not worrying. Do the EV calculation and probably worry. Um,
So honestly, I feel pretty excited about like in fact trying to be a YouTube channel that can do that. Why do I think we could pull something like that off? One is in fact like yep, hype and like intensity gets a lot of clicks, but like our current brand is at least aiming and I think we haven't like totally nailed it, but like I think it's like pretty in the direction of like we're the like it's called AI in context. It's like the whole vibe is like we're gonna be like nuanced or like sensible about this or like put things in context. Like it's like literally in the name of the channel. Eric is obvious also just like the person in the world who most comes off as even-handed I've ever met in my life. And he just like is quite even-handed. Like I think it is like a shocking outcome. Our comment section on an Elon MechaHitler video is so chill for that set of topics. Yeah, some people are like, you guys are glazing Elon, fuck you, he's a fascist. Some people are like, you're not acknowledging that he like built Grok and it's great. To those people, I will say, it's in the video, but that's fine.
I think I got the beginning of your point, which is like we are AI in context. We do nuance here, and we
Yeah,
try
so
to cover like the full range of perspectives and integrate them into some like good view, right?
I don't know if we'll like super hard aim at that, like relative to like literally every other aspect we could do. Sorry, I just think yes. I think yes, it is like sort of like sometimes inconvenient when like we get what we want because then there's less of an argument that everything is going to shit and everyone needs to jump. That said, I do think that like nihilism doesn't work that well for motivating people. Giving people hope, I actually think, is pretty powerful. And so being like, hey, we might be about to come on an AI winter. That seems like a great time to do a ton of really, really thoughtful legislation when you actually have a chance to breathe. A time to do a lot of good research when you actually have a chance to breathe. Like giving people a sense that we're like a little bit winning any part of this like hard battle, I think is actually very motivating. So on strategic grounds alone, it is actually like, I don't know, not 100% one way or 100% another. And then I do think like brands that do nuance can succeed if you kind of nail a vibe. And I think Eric is extremely capable of doing that. Like,
Yeah.
interestingly, to the omnicause, I have been thinking about whether in the future I want to make a video about like the AI environmental stuff, kind of like in a meet people where they're at kind of way. Like I know it's just like on people's minds, and so like, what do we have to say about it? And I think it would be a great opportunity to do the like thing that Andy Maisley has been like really beating the drum on, which is like the water stuff is fake, the electricity stuff isn't. What are the implications of that? And
Hannah,
like just tell the truth, but
Eric,
like talk
like
about it.
cutting to the interview with Eric and Andy. That just needs to happen in a video. You need to cut to the interview with Eric and Andy. It would be amazing.
You can see it already.
Raise the Maisley
Eric at a
star.
whiteboard explaining the water cycle.
Um,
Did you know that after
Andy with a
excuse my
bookshelf
snark?
behind
Did you know
him.
that after
Something.
you use water, Yeah. Here's the water cycle. After you use water, it's still there. And then it goes into the clouds.
Yeah,
Sorry, that was
pretty
perhaps
cool.
unfairly snacky.
Yeah. And yeah, I think maybe the natural segue to like be able to do something about that, at least about AI winter and finances, is at the end of this video, and I think at the end of the last one too, Eric kind of does his heartfelt thing to the camera where he's like, I wish we had more time. I wish you didn't have to worry about this. I wish. And you can have a video that's like, guys, let me tell you about that wish I keep mentioning. Here are like some ways that maybe we'd end up not having to worry. However, like, it's one possibility among many, and you can kind of ground it and help people develop an all things considered view.
And in fact, some folks on our team and the 80K in general have been like a little bit worried that like the vibe right now is too doomy. Like the comments are just like, oh God, I guess we're all gonna die, which isn't, again, like just like isn't that motivating? And like this is why it would be like we really want to think harder about like exactly what you can ask people to do to like sort of get involved and like read and like not be overwhelmed by like whatever. And like yeah, I remember in the first video when Eric noticed that like the vibe was pretty doomy in the comments, he like wrote up some pinned comment that was like 4 reasons to like be not quite as weird as you might have been, or like reasons for hope. And like you can even imagine a future video that's like 4 reasons for hope. That's a great video title.
Yeah, no, I agree. Positive content would be very neat.
So
and yeah, no spoilers from the production side. But we'll see what video number 3 brings. And if I haven't been put out of a job by you bringing the director's commentary in house, we'll have a video about it.
What if that's your only job? What if you come back to 80K and your only job is director's cuts of our content? And you can be one of our editors with all of your video editing experience you're getting.
Cut off the pause at the beginning. Cut off the pause at the end. Let the slap fly. Yeah.
What a workflow, ladies and gentlemen. Wait, should we do directors
and
of our podcast?
No, I know we like meta. Let's not get carried away.
Here's everything else I was going to say, also, and then I thought I was too long.
Also, cut off the pause at the beginning, cut off the pause at the end. Also takes me 3 months.
Yeah, you're on the pip for sure.
Oh dear. For those of you without annoying rationalist EA jobs or things. Well, I guess this is true in many jobs.
This is a tech thing. This is all tech.
Performance improvement plan for the humanities majors out there. Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah, maybe you should put me on one of those. But hey, talking about our show and commentary on our show, I did let the EA forum know that our show exists, and we got like 25% more subscribers just from that. So hello, new forum subs. How's it going? And
you didn't just say we existed. You were like, we are the future of the correct model of EA communications.
That I think puts it a bit more strongly than I did. I said it is something that I think has been neglected, and I would like to see more of it, so I am making more of it.
Wow, classic EA judo move. I'm not saying this is the only or best. I'm just saying on the current margin, it's more neglected.
Yeah.
Works every time.
Well, anyway, now that we have all these new constituents to serve, I think we should improve the quality of the show. Sorry for this episode where I had shitty internet. We cut out like 5 times. But tomorrow night, for real, no one will put me on a flight to another city. I'm going to land at SFO. I know it happened twice already, but no, I'm really going to do it. United, don't cancel on me. It'd be really bad. And like kind of late at night, 9 p.m. or something. Do you want to arrange a greeting party at the airport? Can you all have my name on signs and like wave little?
That'd be kind of cute.
That'd be whimsical. not worth it. I haven't earned my stripes in that respect, I don't think. But anyway, Hannah, what do you think about in person? Can we like meet up and find some way to like be in the same physical space? The lag will be so much better.
Sounds like a party. Yeah, man. You know that Lighthaven have a podcast studio.
Yeah, I've been watching. Oh my God, Patrick McKenzie's podcast is so good. Why is not everyone listening to Patrick McKenzie's podcast? And
It is very good. Yeah. Oh, you're gonna have so much fun. This is great. You should set up your own room as a podcast studio. You don't need a place to sleep. Just fully commit to this bed. Just fully committing. Just go all in.
Yeah, I can get one of those little like paper folding wall things and cover my bed, and then like we just do the podcast right there. All right.
Perfect.
Yeah. I mean, hey, your
Here's the thought I will
non-folding
leave.
drapes look great.
Thank you.
But give me your closing thought.
Well, it's almost like a teaser for a future conversation or something, or like it was my prep, i.e., me getting mad, inventing a guy in my head to get mad at for this episode, which is I was ready for you to be like, I hated it again. Here's reasons. I'm like, yeah, let's get into it. And one of the things I was gonna say, which is related to you coming to the Bay and your plans, is how dare you say that like storytelling is like unacceptably unepistemic when you want to start the EA religion? How do you square those things?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think people draw varyingly strong distinctions between facts and values, and I think mine are very strong. And just like, hey, when you're talking about how people should feel and what they should value in the abstract, be as like illustrative and novel as you want. But when you're talking about what's going to happen in like the real world, day to day, like you should have a clear argument and evidence. And that's how I square the circle.
So you're just like, philosophy, who cares about rigor? That's just about values.
Well, values.
Science.
Values. I think.
What?
Yeah,
but like
value
what we
questions.
should value.
Like
you don't think there's like
value?
Well, much of like moral philosophy is like, what should you value, or like how should you orient to things? And you're just like, nah, that's not a space where like rigor matters.
I think, yeah, it's not that like stories are not like perpendicular to rigor. They can be more or less grounded in reality. But I do just think when it's like you're trying to work out. I mean, because I think that like values, and you say philosophy, and I'm being like persnickety here. Like philosophy includes like argumentation and logic, like what constitutes a good argument or a fallacious argument or something like that. And I think that stuff should be like pretty rigorous. But when it comes to like the content of like defining in the abstract what you care about, that seems like, I mean, I'm a non-cognitivist. I think this is all emotional. And so like, when you have these multiple parts of yourself that feel different ways, how do you negotiate between them? I think that is like fertile ground for narrative and metaphor and all that kind of thing.
This is like the classic of like, what's philosophy for? You can just like believe true things. Then they're like, how do you do the believing and the true and the thing? And like, gotcha, you're doing philosophy. It feels like, yes, if you take a very particular philosophical stance on the content of moral claims, then it follows that no further philosophy is needed.
Yeah, I mean, look, like there are 5 branches of philosophy or whatever, and I think you're pretty zoomed in on epistemology, and I agree that in the epistemic world, like rigor, arguments, evidence, very important, but there's also ethics, and like ethics are fuzzy. Ethics are fuzzier. What is there? There's ontology, metaphysics, all these other things I take no position on. But when it comes to epistemics and ethics, I think those are kind of different buckets that you can treat a little bit differently.
Effective altruism, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, hey, we'll see how the Holy Book manifests. We'll see how the services go. And anyway, speaking of narrative and metaphor and indeed fantasy, enjoy the Ren Faire, you fucking dork.
Yeah, let's fucking go.
Listeners, Hannah got up at 7:30 this morning to record, which, like, salute you for caring about the podcast. But the reason it was 7:30 and not the usual 9 is because, of course, the Ren Faire beckons.
I have to go to Ren Faire. So excited. And it's better than that. Obviously, there's like the pre-gaming of Ren Faire. Like, I'm going over to my neighbor's house to like do all the dressing up. And that's going to be so fun. And then we're going to drive for 2 hours. And that's going to be great. And then we're going to hang out at a Ren Faire for like 5 hours. It's going to be great.
And you're drinking butterbeer and sherry and whatever medieval drinks the whole time?
I think there's a bit of mixing you just did there. But I genuinely have no idea. I've been to a Ren Faire since I was like 10 years old. I mostly just remember the turkey drumsticks that everyone remembers. And now I'm a vegetarian. So I really have no idea what to expect. Hopefully archery.
Hannah, it's California. They're going to have tofu turkey drumsticks in California.
Yeah. What if they have a tofu turkey drumstick the size of my head? That'll be great. Pictures to the pod if and when that happens. By the way, have I already made this point? Obviously, if and when we record together, and if and when we do that ever live, which is like a thing that happens with podcasts sometimes, like to an audience, we've just like really gotten very close to the notion of a service already.
Would you like to be a deacon in my new church?
I mean, look, the reason I'm going to Ren Faire is for the dressing up. If I get to wear a cool robe, then I'm a deacon. That's the price of admission for my input.
Hannah, I have iconography in mind. I might be able to make you happy. Let's see.
Yes. Can we wear like instead of the old timey like medical like mirrors, like the compass from Less Wrong?
Yeah, that might make it in there. We'll see.
Or like a temporary tattoo right here, like Ash Wednesday style.
Oh, that's not terrible. That's not terrible. I'm into it. Okay, there's lots to iterate on here. And
ceremony is so fun.
Oh God, I'm gonna get carried away, aren't we? Yeah,
I'm
so
literally
anyway,
going for a Ren Faire.
Yeah. Oh boy. Great. Well, anyway, you said if. I don't like if. I like when. Can when be next week?
Yeah, I think so.
What does your Sunday look like? Good? Looking good?
Oh,
okay.
no, it can't be.
We'll scope
Just
out.
kidding. Next week is my birthday. And as much as this is lovely.
Why would you punish yourself by having to engage with me on your birthday?
Yeah, we can have to.
All right. Off to the Ren Faire. Get some squats in or something. Make it count as
I was just gonna say, how does this intersect with the gym? I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'll lift some logs.
Joust.
I'll joust. I'll rescue a damsel. It'll be great. I mean, surely this is the queerest Ren Faire.
Yeah, let's go. It is California. All right, Hannah. Have a wonderful day.
Bye, Matt.
We'll see you in the Bay.
You too.